So this week is Parshas Vayetze, which means and he went out. And we're talking about Yaakov. We left off last week with the blessings, and we said that Yaakov kind of stole the blessings. He managed to trick his father into giving it to him under the guidance of Rivka, and so his brother, you can imagine, was very angry. Esav was ready to kill him. And Rivka says, go away to my brother, to Lavan, who lives in Haran, and let your brother's anger subside, and when it subsides, then I'll send message to you and you can come back. And she also says to him, I am sick of the people that your brother takes as a wife. The people here were the Canaanim, who were cursed, and they were full of idolatry. So go to my brother's house, and maybe there you will find someone from his house, from his family. And so this week's Torah portion is Vayetze, Yaakov leaving. Yaakov gets up and he leaves and he's going. And the word Vayetze means and he went. And really though, this week's Torah portion is all about our journey as well. It's about the journey of the soul, the journey that every soul does. What is happening here? We see Yaakov is leaving. It says he's leaving the place of Be'er Sheva, which is a beautiful, idyllic place. It's a place in Eretz Yisrael, in the Holy Land. And he's leaving that place. It says Be'er Sheva was actually a place that there was a covenant between Abraham and Avimelech, and then Yitzchak and Avimelech. There was a peaceful, tranquil place. He's leaving this place in the Holy Land, and he's going to Haran, which is called Charon Afshal Olam, because it's the anger of the world, meaning it's a place of immorality. It's a place out of Eretz Yisrael, out of the land of Israel. And he is going there to escape his brother, but to build himself up. It is there that he builds up his family. It's there that he gets married, and he has all of the 12 Shvatim, the 12 tribes, well, 11 of them there. And this is really a lesson for us. Like, you would think, where would be the perfect place to raise a family, raise a Jewish family, a family that is so steeped in holiness, a family like the Shvatim, that it says each and every one of them was holy, not like Abraham, who had Yitzchak and Yishmael, not like Yitzchak, who had Yaakov, who was righteous, and Esav, who was wicked. But Yaakov, all 12 of the Shvatim were holy people. They were all tzaddikim, they were all good people, they were all going in the correct way. None of them were like Ishmael or Esav. So you would think, where is a place where you can raise a family in tranquility, in holiness, teaching them, educating them? You would think the place would be to stay in Eretz Yisrael, in the Holy Land, in a place where there is already Torah learning and scholarship. This would be the place to raise a family. And yet, where do we see that he left that place, went to a place that is Charon Afshal Olam? It's the corruption, it's anger, it's a place of such conniving and conceit. And he's going to Lavan, his mother's brother, who we know treated him miserably. But it's in this place. He leaves this idyllic place of Be'er Sheva and Eretz Yisrael, goes to this horrific place, this immoral place, this place of darkness, this place of such immorality. And it's specifically there that he builds up the Jewish nation. And he comes out with a Jewish nation that is, each and every one of them is a pure person, is a righteous person. And this is really teaching us something for ourselves as well. And this is really an example for our own self of what's going on. So the soul, our soul, every neshama.
I thought it was mine. No, it's okay.
Okay. Every neshama, every soul leaves this place. That's a holy place. It's a place before we're born. It's sitting in a holy place under the throne of God's seat. It's a holy place, a place in heaven where there's no temptation, there's no blackness, there's no darkness, there's no difficulty, there's no challenge. Everything is as it should be. Everything is beautiful. There's the light of godliness that's surrounding us. And that neshama goes down from that place of beauty, that place of splendor, that place of light. and it comes to this world. And this world is actually called Olam, which means world. What does the word Olam mean? Helem. It's a place of darkness. It's a place of emptiness. It's a place where concealment. It's a place of Helem. It's a place of such concealment. So this holy neshama is leaving this place where it's full of a spiritual place, full of the splendor of God, full of godliness, full of light, coming into this dark world, this place of concealment. And why is that? So that we can accomplish what we need to accomplish here in this world, in this place of darkness, that we couldn't even accomplish up above. That here is especially where it's at. This is where we need to do it. Because here in the physical world is where each and every neshama, each and every soul is entrusted to do their mission, to do something here that you couldn't do above. And that's why we're all here in this world. And this is the vayetze, the going out, not only of Yaakov, but of each and every one of us. We left this beautiful place up above, this place of light, and we came into this world to do a mission that only we can do. And it's only in the concealment of this world, in the difficulties and the challenges and the temptations and the darkness of this world, that we become who we're supposed to be. That we emerge like Yaakov emerged, spiritually whole, materially, he was wealthy, whole in every way, physically whole in every way, complete in every way. And that is what our function here is in this world. And that's why it says, a person needs to think, Bishvili nivra ha'olam.
Oh.
The world was created for me, right? Bishvili, for me, nivra ha'olam was created the world. But another way of looking at it is, Bishvili nivra ha'olam. Ha'olam, we said the word olam comes from the word helem, which means concealment. For me, this concealment was created. Meaning, when you're going through a challenge in life, a difficulty in life, a darkness in life, you need to think this darkness, this concealment was created specifically for me so that I can overcome it, so that I can get through this, so that I can become stronger as a result of this. So Bishvili Nivra Olam, one way of thinking of it is, the world was created for me, meaning every person needs to think that the world was created for me, meaning I am here for a reason and I have to accomplish my mission here. And the whole world was created so that I can accomplish, my neshama could go through and accomplish what it needs to be done. But on a deeper level, what we're saying is, Bishvili nivra ha'olam, for me was created this darkness, this challenge, this difficulty, so that I can find Bishvili, I can find who I am. I can discover the strength that I really have of who I am. And this is what we see specifically with Yaakov. He left this beautiful place in order to then create the children that he was giving birth, he was having, the 12 Shvatim, the 12 tribes, who are the Jewish people. This is the Jewish people. He's in this place specifically is where he became the father of our nation. And it's here that in this place of darkness, that this happens. So, this is the Vayetze of Yaakov and the Vayetze of each and every one of us in our sojourn in our life. And in fact, we say, there's a common phrase amongst Hasidim when we finish Sukkot, the holiday of Sukkot, we say, V'Yaakov halach l'darko, and Yaakov went on his way. And we're talking about here how Yaakov is going on his way. He's going now to Lavan's home, to a place of difficulty, a place of darkness, but specifically here that he builds himself up into who he is. And after the holiday of Sukkot, after the entire month of Tishrei, where we have Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur and Sukkot, we're so immersed in spirituality constantly, one holiday after another. You can't turn around without another holiday coming. We're so full of these holidays that we say, okay, this was beautiful, but now we need to take that inspiration and bring it into the world. That inspiration was like a bubble. It's like Shabbat. It's like a bubble in time. But after Shabbat, you need to take the inspiration from Shabbat and bring it into the weekday. And this is what Yaakov is doing. He prepared himself all these years in this beautiful place, learning, studying Torah, getting ready for it, but now he has to bring that inspiration into real life situations and into the darkness of the world. So how does he do this? How does he go about on his journey? So we see the first thing that he does, it says, Vayifka b'makom hahu. He stops at a place along the way, and Vayifka, he prays, he davens, he prays at this place. And again, this is a lesson. Every part of his step, every part of his Vayetze is a lesson for each and every one of us, which is, what is the lesson here? He's going to a new place. He's going to a place where he's going to have to work hard. He's going to a place where he has to earn a livelihood. He's no longer sitting in his parents' home, where he's able to sit and study Torah. Now he has to really go into the world, and he has to build his own family. What is his preparation for it? So you think the preparation for someone would be, let me learn the ways of the world. Let me learn a trade. Let me learn something. Let me learn how to do what the world is doing. But how does Yaakov prepare for this? By prayer, by immersing himself in spirituality, by realizing that this is coming, whatever is going to come is coming from God. Sometimes we're so busy working and doing that we don't realize that, of course, we need to put forth the effort. But it's not our effort that's causing the results. The results are coming from God. And that's what we see the next thing that he does. He's praying at this place. And what does it say he does? He says, Vayikach me'avne hamakom vayasem ereshosav. He takes the stones from the place. There's stones all around him. And he's laying down. He's putting all the stones around his head. And the question is, if he's putting the stones around his head because presumably he's worried about some wild animals or something attacking him, so why is he only protecting his head? Put it around your entire body. If he's thinking that God is going to protect him, then why is he putting it around his head at all? What does he need this protection?
Right.
So what's the point of him taking these stones and putting them specifically just around his head? It's a good question, right? So here again, we're trying to understand what is Yaakov trying to do, and it's a lesson for each and every one of us, and it's a lesson for himself. What he was trying to do was symbolic as well. What was he trying to do? He says, I am now going to Lavan's house. I'm going to be working there. I'm going to be earning a living. There's two ways that a person can earn a living. There's one way is you use your hands. You do with your hands. You do with your hands, with your feet. That's one way we earn a living. The other way is doing with my head, immersing my head into it. He says, I want to just immerse my hands, my feet in what I'm doing. I have to earn a living, but my entire being isn't going to be about making money. There are people who make a very respectable living, but that's not their life. They make the living because we need to live. We need to support ourselves. We need to live properly. We want to give tzedakah. We want to live in a proper way. As a Jewish person, you need to make a living. But is your whole head, is your mind immersed into it, thinking every moment of the day, how can I make more money? What can I do to make more money? Or is your head immersed in a higher purpose of what's my purpose in this world? What am I supposed to be doing in this world? Making money is something that needs to be done. But is my head so immersed in it? They tell a story of a chassid who, in the middle of, he was an accountant, and in his accounting he was figuring out all the numbers, and he writes at the bottom as the total sum, he writes Einod Movado. There's only God. There's nothing in the world but God. That's what he writes as the sum total. And they said to him, what are you doing now? You're mixing religion with your accounting? Like, now you're supposed to be doing accounting. And he says, how often do people, and do I, when I'm praying, what am I thinking about? About the money I'm supposed to be making. So now when I'm thinking about my work, I'm thinking about God and how there's only God. So this is an example of how, of course we need to go about doing the things that we're doing, but are we so immersed in it that our heads are so into it that even our heads are only thinking about how we can make more money, how can we do more, rather than living our life the way we're meant to be living it, with purpose, with meaning, with seeing beyond just the money that we're trying to be making. And this is what Yaakov is trying to remind himself. He's putting the stones around his head to say, my head is going to be protected. I'm going to be working for a living, and I'm going to be working wholeheartedly for a living. I'm going to be working honestly and properly. And it says Yaakov his work was very hard. He was working in the house of Lavan for so many years. It says in the cold he'd go out, in the hot it would go out. He was watching the tzon, the bakar, the sheep, and the animals, and he was working very, very hard. But he says, but my head is not going to be immersed in it. My head is going to be thinking about other things. My head will be thinking about godliness, and my values are not going to be influenced only by money, money, money. And that's why he is protecting his head. He's protecting his head to say the head is not going to be immersed into the making of a livelihood. And that's why we said it. There's a pasuk that says, Yegia kapecha ki sochel, ashrecha v'tov lach. Yegia kapecha, the work of your hands will be good, and you'll eat, and it will be good for you. Yegia kapecha, the work of your hands. And it specifically is saying, Yegia kapecha, the work, the toiling of your hands. If you work with your hands, if you toil with your hands, if you toil with your entire body, your hands, your feet, whatever it is, but you're part of yourself, your soul, your mind, that you keep for your higher values. Your whole being isn't so involved in making another dollar, right? We get that? Okay. And that's why it says he took the stones and put it around his head. What are stones? When we think of stones, stones are something that's inanimate. It has no emotions, it has no feelings, it has no brain. He took the stones to put it around himself to say, stones are something that just they don't have emotions or intellect. And there's a part of us that has to be like a stone. There's a part of us that even if right now I'm not feeling about God, and even if right now my intellect, I'm not thinking about God, I need to be a servant of God. I need to do what God says. So sometimes we understand what we're doing, and sometimes we're very in the mood of what we're doing. We're in the mood of praying. We're in the mood of going to synagogue. We're in the mood of coming to a Torah class. We're in the mood of being nice to our fellow Jew. We're in the mood of giving charity. We're feeling very generous. And sometimes we're not in the mood. Not intellectually, not emotionally. I'm not in the mood. But we still do it, just like the stone. Just like the stone is always there. It's with this kabbalat all, which means accepting that this is God's will. Just like the stone is there without the emotions, without the intellect, but it's there, it's doing what has to be done. We too sometimes have to be like that stone. Right now I'm not in the mood. Hopefully I will be later on, or hopefully one time I will be, but right now I still have to do what needs to be done. Just like a stone, I'm going to go out and do what needs to be taken care of. Grounding, yes, grounding, exactly. Another thing about the stone is it doesn't move. It doesn't move by itself. It only moves if you move it. You take it somewhere, it moves. You don't take it, it doesn't move. It stays exactly where it is. And the lesson of the stone is we need to remind ourselves that we think it's about what we do, but really we need to remind ourselves it's what God is doing. We have to look at ourselves as like that stone. Let go and let God, right? Let God take care of us. Sometimes we think we have to take care of and control this issue, this problem, that issue. Sometimes just let go. Just be the stone. You're the stone. God is moving you. God is moving you to the exact position that you're supposed to be in. God is taking care of your destiny, your journeys, your role in this world, your positions in the world. You're meeting exactly the people that you're meant to be meeting. You're put into the positions that you're supposed to be put into. You're living exactly where you need to do. You're seeing the circumstances exactly as it's supposed to be. So we tend to be very controlling. I'm controlling myself, I'm controlling the world. You're laughing.
No, because you're 199% right.
Right. I'm talking to myself, that's why. Because we're like that, and especially I think as women, we're very controlling, like taking care of everybody and everything because we feel everything's on our shoulders. And we have to sometimes realize you're a stone. It's just like the stone is being put exactly where it's supposed to be put. You're a stone. God is putting you exactly where you're meant to be put and doing for you exactly how you're supposed to be going. And that's the reminder that he was trying to remind himself. Yes.
So God also gave us the ability of choice.
Of choice, yes.
So if he gives us the choice, is that what the choice we're supposed to be making?
Yes, we are supposed to be making choices, definitely, and we are supposed.
Are those the choices God's making for us? Is he giving us the direction? Like, you know what I'm saying? Are we
Right.
making a bad choice?
Right. So there was this chassid who was running. He woke up very early in the morning and he was running to get his livelihood, and he met, I think it was the Baal Shem Tov, and the Baal Shem Tov says, "Where are you running to?" I'm running to do my livelihood. I'm running because my livelihood. He says, maybe your livelihood is behind you, not in front of you. And the message is a very deep message. Of course we're supposed to be running to do what we're supposed to be doing, and we definitely make the choices that we make in our lives. But there are times when we're trying too hard, when we're too worried, when we're putting our head, not only our hands, into it, and we're so worried about the outcome. And I'm talking to myself like I'm talking to you, because we're so often so worried about a situation and how's this going to work out and what's going to happen. Should we make the effort? Of course you have to make the effort. You know, when you're in a situation, you have to make whatever the effort is, whether it's a health issue, whether it's a financial issue, whether it's something that you need to make a contact for somebody. You need to do what you have to do. You have to do your effort. But your effort should be guided by the knowledge that God is in charge. I'm just the vessel so that God can give it to me. I have to do my effort because God wants me to do the effort. But whether or not I'm going to be successful or not, that's God. That's in God's hands. That's not in my hands. And it's a very different shift. Like, you still might be doing the same thing, but the shift is entirely different. Like, I am just a vessel. I am just that stone that God is going to decide if I'm going to be successful in this. I have to do my part, but the real success is not me. It's coming from God. Yet often we think it's my success, it's my effort, it's my work that's going to cause the result. And that's just the facade.
But if you sit and do nothing, God will not help you.
100%.
But it's about
God only helps those who help themselves, right? Yes.
Yeah, it's
the will.
Yes.
There are two things that come. First of all, it's all about faith. Bottom line, and that to me is sometimes one of the hardest things, because we have to let go of our own will, our personal will, to make things happen, to know that things aren't in our hand, but we want to make things in our hand. So there's another level of will, and then it's the whole thing of faith. And I struggle, faith, to really believe that there is something higher, that it's not just about me.
Right.
It's
See,
a hard one.
Yeah, a very hard one. You know, on the one hand, we have to do our part because this is what God tells us. For example, you know the joke about the man who keeps saying to God, I'm buying the lottery, make sure that can you make me be the winning ticket? And the day comes and he's not the winning ticket, and he does it again and again. He says, God, why aren't you letting me win? And a voice comes out from heaven and says, Joe, buy the ticket, right? Just buy the ticket, do me a favor, right? So the point is, you're right. You know, Rita's saying, well, we have to do things. Of course we have to do things. We can't just say, God, make me successful in business. Well, what business are you in? Make me have a job. Well, what interviews did you go to? Make me find, make me get the right doctor. Well, where did you try? Where did you go? But so of course we have to do the effort, but at the same time, when we're doing the effort, when we're going to the job interview, when we're researching all the good medical doctors, we have to realize that I do my part, but God is doing his. That it's God who's orchestrating the events. So if God is giving me the right doctor, that doctor is just a messenger from God to help me. It's not the doctor who has the power on his own. The doctor is a messenger from God. If I'm finding the right job interview, God is giving me that job interview so that I can find the right position that I need. But it's all in God's hand. And if this isn't the right position, God won't make it happen. So we're doing still the effort. We're still using our legs and our hands, and we're going through the motions. But our heart and our minds realize that it's God who is running the world. That this is a facade. Just like nature is a facade. You know, it looks like nature is exactly what it's supposed to be doing. You know, the weatherman says nature was coming out, and it's nature is the forces of nature that are doing things. But behind the facade of nature and the way that the world is running, it's God's hands that are playing. That it's like in a puppet theater. You know, you see the puppets and you see the strings, and you think that it's the strings that are pulling the puppets, right? But there's someone who's on top of it, pulling those puppets, and it's that someone who's God.
So what about when it doesn't work out for somebody? And like, I'll give you an example. One of my very dearest friends, she struggled with her daughter for like 15 years. And everywhere her daughter went, she followed her. She left the family and followed the daughter because she knew that her daughter had a mental illness, and she was very depressed, and she had a lot of problems. This mother did everything, if I tell you. And then at the end, she told her daughter, listen, we tried everything, you have to come home. And when she came home, her husband went into the bedroom and found the daughter hung herself.
Oh, face.
And, you know, but
You could have said trigger warning.
trigger warning, I'm sorry. But
Right.
so, you know, I always had conversations with my friend for over 15 years, you know, why don't we do this, why don't you try this, why don't you try, and never ever did she ever stop trying. So I'm asking, like, when there are people who do try so hard and things just don't work out, is that a punishment from Hashem? I know this is harsh, but sometimes you feel like, why did God do this to me? Like, why did I lose a child? Or why did my child die by suicide? Or, like, I know it's a very hard question, but what about when it doesn't work out and you know, you see that people do try so hard?
So when something doesn't work out, as hard as it is, and you know, I'm saying this to myself as well, you know, we have to say this is our soul's journey in life. So this was whatever the daughter's journey in life. This was the mother's journey in life. This is what her soul has to go through. Why? I can't answer that. I don't know. I mean, there's so much in play. Like, there's so much there's so much at play here. Like the daughter, like the mother, like each of our souls, not only in this world, but also in previous reincarnations. What happened with them in previous reincarnations? You know, there's this whole story told with the Baal Shem Tov, how this couple was waiting and waiting and waiting to have a child. They were childless for so many years. And finally they went to the Baal Shem Tov and they got a special blessing, and the wife was pregnant, and she miraculously, and she has this child, and they're so happy, and they're so, you can imagine, after years and years, they're already older, and they finally have a child, and after 2 years, this child dies.
Oy.
And the parents are heartbroken. They go back to the Baal Shem Tov. How could you do this to us? You know, finally we have a blessing. Finally we have a child. And then after 2 years, the child is taken from us. And the Baal Shem Tov said to them, I want to tell you a story. And he tells them a story about this child who came down into this world, a very holy soul. But the first 2 years of this child's life, he was in a house that he was eating non-kosher stuff. And after 2 years, you know, he was switched to a different house, and I don't exactly remember the details of the story, but he went on to lead the most beautiful life, the most righteous life. He says, that soul went up to heaven, and they said, look at this guy, look at this person, what a beautiful soul, look at all the good things that he's done, look at the amazing life he lived. But the accusing angel says, that's nice, but you know what, the soul still has like a stain on it. That beautiful soul still has some kind of stain on it, because the first few years of his life, he wasn't eating kosher, and this is something that affected the soul. So that soul had to come back down into this world. That beautiful soul came back into this world for 2 years. to just rectify what it had done in the past, not even its own mistake, but to polish that part of that soul. And that soul now is so beautiful and so complete, it went up to the highest levels of God, of heaven. And you were entrusted with that soul for those 2 years. So did the parents feel after they heard this story, did it end their grief? No. But did it make them feel that there was a purpose to their grief? That they were privileged to raise this soul, to be entrusted with the soul for those 2 years? They did. And that itself is a comfort. So these things are beyond my pay grade, It's beyond what any of us could really understand. Like, why is the soul why is this happening? I mean, we don't even have to go so far as to your friend. We see with the hostages what they've gone through, what they've, the murders we see with Rabbi Kogan. We see with so many things that are happening. And why did this happen? We just do know that these souls are the souls of the holiest people. And they're going straight to the highest levels, because somebody who is killed because he is a Jew is the highest, that is the greatest tzaddik. That's the greatest person, because he's killed simply because he's a Jew. That's called dying al Kiddush Hashem.
And the fact that they're the parents that are losing their children, they give me strength.
Yes.
And it's just, when they speak, they're so powerful.
Unbelievable. It's
And
unbelievable.
it's just something so holy there.
It's like you can sometimes see, I mean, we don't always see, but you can sometimes see the soul that was entrusted, even sometimes a special child, a child that has special needs. And you can see the home that they were put into is just a home where they're special souls. That's all you can say. These are special people. The way, the love that they give the child, and the way that they react to the child and say that the child is enriching their life, not that they're enriching the child's life. This is holiness. This is giving us this glimpse of holiness, and it's these special souls in this world that give us I don't know about us, that give me, a regular person, this glimpse into this beauty of what a soul really is, what holiness really is. So.
But about what you said about Gilul Chaim, it's like reincarnation, like the afterlife, the afterlife. That's pretty serious. So that soul was somebody else beforehand.
Yes.
Yes,
we are all Gilgulim. Like, we are all now, and we're all here to rectify something.
Wow.
And the thing that you're here to rectify might be something very small, or something very bigger, and you don't even know how it's playing out in your life. But we are, so there's the picture of the soul here in this world, and the achievement and the mission and what we have to go through. And then even bigger than that is what has our soul gone through in previous lifetime. So this is really it's not for our little minds to even fathom and to understand how this is all playing out and why things are necessary to happen the way they are. Right?
It's almost like being punished for what you did in the past life.
So it's not punished. I don't look at it as punished. I don't look at it as punished. I look at it as like an opportunity for the soul to shine as high as it can.
I understand.
Yeah. Like there's some kind of, it's like when you're wearing you could be wearing this beautiful outfit and there's like this little tiny stain. You don't want that stain in it. You want that ability to just wash that off, because, so that's the soul. The soul is so beautiful, but it's giving it an opportunity to complete itself, to complete its mission in this world.
So if a person dies young, you're saying that their soul was complete at a young age. So if someone lives a long life, then that soul really was tarnished.
Doesn't mean that.
No. It just means that it's completed their purpose.
Right, so it takes all those years.
It could be something so simple that they're in the right place at the right time and stop like an accident, and then, you know what I mean? Like, oh, this is what I was here for. And then that's all it is. It was that one moment that they needed to achieve their purpose. And however long it takes. Those people that live like long lives, like, God loves them. He loves them, you know, because they have the opportunity every day to open their eyes and do good. You know, so you have to look
I
at it.
remember we look at, like in Judaism, we look at this world, we don't look at it as like the afterlife as the place where it's at. We look at this world as the place. So it says, Yafa Sha'achas. 1 hour in this world is even greater than all the time in the world to come, because what we can accomplish here, this is what we say about Yaakov, that he's in Galut, he's in this exile, he's in this horrible place, and look at what he's accomplishing there. So much more than he could have accomplished sitting and learning Torah and studying, which we know is phenomenal, at his parents' home in Beersheba, or in the land of Israel. You know, because we look at this world as a place, specifically because of the darkness, this is the place that God chose to reveal himself. Because even in the darkness, we can light up the world. That is the greatest achievement. Even in physical reality, which screams, I am, and I'm so separate from God. I'm not a part of God. I don't feel God. That physical reality we're using, that's what we speak about. We take something that's a physical thing and we use that for our mitzvah. So now that piece of parchment on the doorpost is now being used to express godliness. So something that was so far away from godliness or completely devoid of godliness is now being used to scream out, God is here in this world. That's what God wanted. That's why he created this world.
Look at the soldiers, you know, religious, they go and fight, really. And you see others are sitting and
Right.
don't want to go, or, you know,
Right.
fighting not to go, and others go.
Right.
And they, you know, and they follow all the religious, they put tefillin and they pray,
Right.
and they fight.
Yeah.
So this is really
Yeah.
great people. Great people.
Very great people. These are the holy people that
Yes,
is protecting
absolutely.
protecting
absolutely.
Israel. Each and
Yes.
every one of them. 100%.
Absolutely. Yes.
100%. Yes. Okay, so
There
we're-
is something.
Very deep conversation.
Very deep. Yes. Yes.
I have to ask you something. I really believe in Gilgul Neshamot.
Yes.
I don't know. Even before I started to come, I always believed in it. So, and I heard once, you know, a lecture from Chabad, a guy in Long Island City, and he said that the neshama go up, right? When a person dies, the neshama goes up, and then it moves, or I don't know, looking for someone else. I'm not sure exactly what happened after someone is dying with the neshama.
I
With
wasn't
the
there, I
soul.
can't tell you.
Yeah.
The soul goes up, definitely goes up
Yeah.
to God, and there's it's a whole spiritual dimension. The Rebbe speaks about how it's like going up like an extra set of steps.
Yes.
So it could see down here, but it can't communicate. So
Yes.
that's how we look at our departed, our loved ones.
Yes.
We feel like they haven't left us; they're there, but
Yes.
they can see us. They can communicate, not communicate, but they see what's going on here.
Yeah.
And everything that we do, though, see, we have ability to do things for them.
Exactly.
And what can we do? We can do things that they can't do. We can do
Oh.
mitzvot. And in that way, every mitzvah that we're doing, we're creating a beautiful atmosphere for them up high.
Oh,
We're
okay.
giving a merit, something that they can no longer do. They can ask for us, they can plead for us on our behalf, but we can do things for them. And that's what, every time that we do something in the merit of, someone who has departed, we're doing something that they can't do anymore because they don't have the body. That's why we look at the body as something that is a positive thing, because the body allows us to do all these mitzvot that they
Yeah.
can no longer do.
So when you say they could plead for us, we don't, like when we pray, we only pray to Hashem.
Right.
We can't ask them to plead for us. It's like,
Well, we,
That's like when you go like to the Rebbe, to the Ohel, you ask the Rebbe to help intercede with something that you need or want or whatever, right?
like you go in Israel, if you were ever at Kever Rachel, you know, why are you going to Kever Rachel? You're saying, Rachel,
okay.
we're your children, you know, please pray for us. Please ask God to help us, you know. They can't give you it, only God can give it to you, but they can try to pray on your behalf,
So
to
you said
intercede.
honey went to go to the Ohel?
Absolutely, we go to the aisle, we all go all the time. This is what we ask.
Already?
We go to the aisle of the Rebbe, to the gravesite of the Rebbe. It's a holy place, and miracles after miracles, you know, have happened there.
I have to go once.
You
but-
should definitely
I
go.
have gone,
But
it is an extraordinary.
Yes,
They're
absolutely.
conduit
Mm-hmm.
to, as if to say,
You can just go.
on your behalf.
Absolutely, you just go. It's in Queens.
You can go local.
So that-
What?
You can go
What?
outside. You can
Okay.
also go local.
Yes.
Do you know you can go to the Printer?
To where?
Off of Brick Church.
Okay, great, ladies, this is what we're gonna do. We're
Okay.
gonna plan a day where we're all gonna go
Okay,
together.
yeah, I go. Yes,
100%.
yes.
We definitely. And then afterwards, we're gonna plan a Shabbatai.
Okay, yeah, you promised that.
I think that is so beautiful though, that for
And just
everything
follow
we
the
do
line of
it not
women.
just for ourselves,
I
but
know, I only
for
see
the ones
women.
that we've loved that have passed, that have passed.
100%.
And it's such a beautiful way to live, because we're not just living for ourselves.
Cells, yes, 100%. 100%.
Yes.
We give thanks.
Okay,
We
so
are
let's
proud, yeah.
let's continue on. So this is what Yaakov is doing, and Yaakov is saying he's taking those stones and he's putting it around his head, and then he's saying that these stones become like a mizbeach, they become an altar where he's actually able to, the stones become something holy. And this is really a message for us, and this is exactly what we're talking about, how the physical things now become holy. In other words, when we use physical reality, when we use our job in order to promote Judaism by speaking to our co-workers about God, even our non-Jewish co-workers, there's 7 mitzvot that we can speak to them about, 7 Noachide laws. When we use the money that we earn from our job so that we can give tzedakah, when we use the opportunities in our lives, when we use the food on the table to make a bracha on, when we use all these different opportunities in our life, the things themselves become holy. And this is what it says, that the stones became a house of God. So when you are in using your things, even it's not only in our homes that the siddur is a holy thing, which of course the siddur is something holy, or the mezuzah is holy, but the Rebbe explains here that even the forks and the knives that we're using become holy. These become mediums for holiness. And that's what it means, that the stones themselves became like a holy thing. And finally, let's just see, okay, we're running out of the time, but then he says,
Ready?
Yaakov says, I'm making an oath. If God is with me and safeguards me on this road that I'm traveling and provides me with bread to eat and clothes to wear, then I will return in peace to my father's house, and God will be my God. Then this stone that I erected will be a monument as the house of God. So he's making an oath with God, saying, God, I'm going to need your protection. I'm going on this way. I don't know what the future is going to be. And we know when he was going, he actually came with money. And we know that the son of Esav robbed him because he was supposed to kill him, but instead he robs him. And so he comes penniless basically to his uncle's home. So he's not relying on anybody. He can't rely on anybody. He's relying only on God. But he's asking God to make an oath for him that he will give him protection, he will give him food to eat, clothes to wear, and he will return him in peace to his father's land. And this is things that we ask for in our prayers as well. On a simple level, we ask this of God. God, I'm going to try to do my best in this world, but please, I need I need food to eat. I need a protection around me. I need clothes to wear. And I need to be able to return in peace. I need this protection to return in safety. And on a deeper level, so this is on a physical level, what we ask, and this is what we ask when we pray. This is the idea of prayer. We're asking for all these things. We ask, if you look at the prayers that we say every day, we ask for all these physical things that we're asking for. Give me livelihood, give me health, give me ability to see, give me ability to walk, give me all these things, God. And why are we asking for these things, though? Because we're saying we're asking for these things because not as a condition. He's not saying, God, okay, if you give me A, B, C, and D, then I'll follow your way. He's saying, in order to follow your way, I need A, B, C, and D. I need food. I need a house. I need a protection. I need these things in order to follow your way, because it's with using these things that I can easily follow your way. And this is our prayers to God as well. We ask God to give us serenity, tranquility, the food that we need, the house that we need, the health that we need. Why? Not only for the sake of the thing itself, because it's nice to have it, but this is our way of, we can only fulfill our mission in this world if we aren't so worried all the time, but if we have all these things that we need in order to live. This is the idea of prayer, that we're saying to God, give us these things so that we can serve you. We just have to remember the serving part, right? Not just give me these things. And on a deeper level, he's also saying, on a spiritual level, he's saying, God, I need protection. I need protection on my way. And this is the mitzvos lotase, the negative mitzvos that we do, the negative things that we stay away from. Don't do this, don't do this. This is to protect us from the negative realm, from things that are temptations, that are things that are negative for us. We ask for food to eat. He's asking for food to eat, and the food to eat resembles the wisdom of Torah, because we digest that wisdom, we eat that wisdom. The clothes that we wear are the mitzvot aseh, the positive mitzvot that we do, that protect us, that encompass us, that enclose us. And finally, he says, protect me so that I can return to my Father's house. This is the mitzvah of teshuvah, of returning, because teshuvah means that we return in peace. And what is teshuvah really? Teshuvah is taking all the negative aspects of our lives and turning it upside down, finding within the negative the positive, because it's the negative that propels us to get even closer to God. So we're taking the negative aspects of our lives and using that, we're saying we're leaving that, but we're using that as the impetus for us getting closer to God. So this is Yaakov going on his way, Yaakov leaving his home, and then of course it's there in Lavan's house that he meets Rachel, meets Leah, which we'll talk about probably a lot more next week. What does each one mean, Rachel and Leah, and the children that they have together. But this is really the journey of each and every one of us. We're all here for a reason, for a purpose. We're coming from a high place to this, what seems like a dark and lowly world, but it's specifically in this dark and lowly world that we can find the beautiful, most beautiful gems of who we are and what we're meant to be. And even in the difficulties, this is through the difficulties, through to the challenges specifically, we become the people that we're supposed to be. And that's why Bishvili Nivra Olam, because of me, the concealment was created so that concealment challenges were simply created so that you can shine. And like you asked, well, what if you don't see it shining? It doesn't mean that you're not always going to see. You don't know what the concealment is there for. It's not always so that you can get to the finish line. It's so that you can do your effort along the way, so that you can do what you need to do along the way. And that's why we're here. So,
Wow.